What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I think I've been too hard on Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. This has been a video I wanted to make ever since I did my rewatch. I rewatched Pirates 1 through 5 in a marathon over a two and a half day period. I'm very glad I did it, and obviously, this is a pretty upbeat, more positive one. Now, I still do want to talk about some of the negatives of On Stranger Tides, but I do overall want to kind of talk about the positives, and again, why I've been too hard on it. I know people have been asking me to make more Pirates videos, so here you go. All right, so I really do think I've been too hard on this movie. I think this movie works really, really well as a Jack Sparrow side story. I think if you think of it as that, this movie actually works extremely well. I think what hurt the movie at the time with me, watching it was, it comes off, even though it's 4 years after, in real time, not in the movie. In the movie, it's much, much later. But 4 years after Pirates 3 releases in theaters, it is, whether you like it or hate it, it is this grand spectacle of a film. I mean, it's got some of the largest battles, really, in movie history. It had, at the time, the biggest budget ever for a film. I mean, it was ridiculous, right? How big, and obviously, because it's the third movie, it ends the trilogy. You're dealing with Davy Jones. You have to end everything. You have to say goodbye. I mean, the emotions and the storytelling that you're going to do, you can never replicate that starting a new trilogy. It just can't happen. You can try to do something different and hope it sticks to then grow, and that probably is actually one of the biggest weaknesses of this movie, right, is that it came out and then it ultimately didn't work. It made a ton of money, but by the time they made the next one, which was 6 years later in real time, they didn't even use like Philip and Serena, because I think they realized that they weren't all that. They were solid characters. And I think looking back at it now, they were fine. They weren't anything special, but they weren't bad. But maybe they, I assume they weren't looked at as characters that could, carry the franchise going forward. So that probably is some of the biggest, elements of failure. And then, again, Blackbeard, I don't think even comes close to matching Davy Jones. Angelica is pretty annoying, especially her decision making towards the end. Those are definitely the negatives. On the positive side, this is one of the better films in general for Jack Sparrow, and even in a way, I would say Barbossa. Barbossa is consistently just always top tier. He's amazing in 5. He's amazing in 4 when he's in it. Like, he's just really good. I don't know if the peg leg decision was a good idea. I didn't think it was a good idea back then. I'm really not sure now. I think that they worked with it in a way where it's like, well, he's getting older. He's going to be more limited, so this is a way of making his character more limited as well. Like, I if they did think like that, then that's fine. For Jack, though, and, Johnny Depp, this really made me, rewatching how good he was as Jack in 1 through 4. And yes, that is when he was good as Jack. And then some sparing moments in 5. But 4 also really stood out to me as, like, he's incredible. He's incredible as Jack Sparrow. Even the deleted scenes of 4, right? And he's kind of like just bouncing off. I think he improvises a lot of what he does. You can watch some of the behind the scenes of him just kind of talking and doing, alternate cuts, and he's very funny. They're also really good lines. Like, he really takes over that character, and I think that really stands out in 4. Now, why does it stand out in 4? Well, it's because he is like the center point of 4, whereas he's not that as much, not nearly as much in any of the other movies. Again, when you see it and you come off of 3 and you don't have as strong of a supporting cast, or like Scrum is fine, but he's not the same as like a Pintel and Rigetti. You still have Gibb, you know what I mean? And so you have to focus. I think I understand it. I mean, you have to focus on Jack, and I actually kind of like now, looking at it now, looking at what 5 did and looking at just this uncertain future, I do respect 4 a whole lot more, and I respect Johnny Depp a whole lot more, because it's like, that character is great. And if they ended it even at the ending of 4, I would have been fine with that, because I thought the ending, his little monologue about living forever and what that means, I thought that was awesome at the end of 4. So, and even like the sword fighting of 4 is good when it happens. Obviously, there's like 0 ship fights. That was a really big weakness with that movie. But again, it's like, there had to have been budget things where, they're trying to cut back from it. 4 and 5 had that issue. So budget restraints, you're trying to restart the franchise, but you want to keep, certain characters. It came off wrong, I think, in the moment. But I think as time has gone on, some of the more comical, the comedic parts of the movie are very good. They're very funny. Some of the blockbuster kind of moments of it are really good. I really like the mermaids. I remember liking them an okay amount, back when it, happened. But now I really look at that scene as again, like that. It's not like the Maelstrom, like the battle between the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman. Like, it's not that epic. But for the scale of this movie, it probably is one of, if not the most epic scenes in the entire film, when the mermaids, go around the boat and start, and the entire attack happens. I really like that entire sequence. I really like it. But again, I really think the biggest strength of this movie is Jack Sparrow. You see a side of him that is hinted at and shown at times throughout 1, 2, and 3, but they really lean into it at 4. And I think, 3 is my favorite version of Jack. I love the deleted scene between him and Beckett with the, like people or men aren't cargo with the pirate symbol. Like, I love that. I love his reaction when Will gets stabbed. I think, like, in terms of pure acting, it's insanely believable, maybe the most believable he ever is. At the same time, Jack Sparrow is always believable that character just exists in that world, right? He does a really good job at that. But I love the, 3's Jack Sparrow. 4 really has always come in second place, and I still feel that, but I feel like they're very close because 4, with his care with Angelica, and then they lean into the idea that, like, he's not really even, like, he's still unsure about the Fountain of Youth, and then especially when he finds out about how it works, he's really turned off with the idea. And I think, like, it's a comedic moment at the time. I think he says, like, my desire for the fountain has now lessened, or, it's some sort of, like, backwards kind of speech that they do. It's played off a little bit for comedy, but I think it also kind of shows his personality and where he is, where it's like he never has been. He always has been a good guy, a good person who's, made mistakes and is very up and down in his life. And this really shows it even better, I think, and 4 consistently. Even with, like, Barbossa, the relationship that those two have in this movie is maybe the strongest because, like, in 1, it's a very all-over-the-place relationship on purpose. 2, they're never together. 3, they are, and they're fighting for most of it in terms of, like, who's in charge and stuff like that. It's still really good. But then 4, you still have that kind of hatred, and especially when he realizes what what happened with the Pearl. But, like, once they're on the same page, I really like, and their dynamic has always been kind of all over the place, right? Where they're always trying to get a one-up on top of each other, but they'll never go so far to, like, kill the other, well, except for the ending of 1, right? But they'll never take it that far again. It's just a very, there's issues with the relationship, but it's like an organic thing. So I love that. I mean, I think Barbossa does excellent in every single scene he's in. I think the visual work of the movie is great. The music, obviously, is top-notch. Again, at the time, and I've always held this over the movie. I don't know if I'll hold it over it as much this time. One thing I always said when the movie came out was it's crazy to go from the music being played over, like, the final 30 minutes, like, the epic fight at the end of 3, and then hearing that same music playing when Jack's, like, running down a hallway, running from, like, the British soldier. Does that make sense? I've never liked that. And I get, am I, like, asking them to come up with a complete, like, throw out all the music you've ever made and come up with something? I mean, no, and they do have the new stuff. In fact, the whole mermaid stuff, the beginning of the movie, the background, like, theme music is completely different. So, like, they did do new stuff, and it's excellent. The new music is excellent in 4. But it's like, it amplifies, this is a spin-off movie. It doesn't really feel like a main installment Pirates movie, is we just heard this music being played over this ending of a trilogy, this epic moment, and now he's running down a hallway, and you're hearing the same music, and it just does, the epicness is not there, and it isn't there throughout the entire movie. Again, though, it's how you judge it. I really feel like time has been good to this movie. There are definitely issues. I will never stop talking about the issues of it, including Angelica, which is a big problem. But Angelica does help show who Jack is. So I will give her that because she's in the movie, Jack has a chance to become even better of a character because of her. So, I'll give her that. But, no, I mean, really, it depends on how you look at it. But I do think because of what 5 did, and now just not knowing where we are with Pirates in general, not just with Johnny Depp, but with Pirates in general, I really think 4 is a lot better because of that. Because you look back at that movie and you say, if you look at it as like a Jack Sparrow tale, which really, yes, the other ones are as well, but not nearly as much and not structured the same way. This one is very different and more of a Jack Sparrow spin-off adventure, almost something you could imagine being a Disney Plus show. Like if you broke that up into 8 episodes and put it on Disney Plus tomorrow, you could say The Adventures of Jack Sparrow versus Blackbeard. Like you could come up with a name and it would work because it really is a side story, or feels like it, especially because then in 5, the events of 4 did happen, but really the events of 4 are that they consider canon were Barbossa's leg, the pearl trapped in a bottle, and the amount of time that's passed between 4 and 5. That's it. There's nothing else that happened in 4 that carries over into 5. And I get why they did it in the moment. I don't know. It maybe would have been a better idea to maybe lean more into 4. Could Philip and Serena have done better? I mean, I like Henry and Karina. I think I like Henry and Karina a lot more than Philip and Serena. So I don't know if those two would have been the best fit, but I think overall 4 is probably a more even movie and highlights the best of Jack a lot better than some of the other ones. So let me know what you guys think about 4. Let me know about what you think about the entire franchise of Pirates in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. And I hope to see you all on the next video.